And welcome back to the Ruby Tuesday. My name's Ruben and this is my review for the Yin Yang Master, not to be mixed up with the Yin Yang Master of 2020. This is a 2021 version. Let me know in the comments, which is your favorite martial art film of recently? Obviously there's a cornucopia of them, but we've had a few really decent ones. This is fantasy martial arts, so maybe you can let me know which is your favorite. But for now, let's jump into the review. So there are obviously a cornucopia of these type of films, and you get a few that can be just not as good as you're expecting them to be, but you can also get a few that stand out. I have to say, I've really enjoyed this. This is exactly what I needed. If you need an escape with high-flying wire work, great martial arts, exceptional set pieces, with great fight sequences, I think you're really in for a treat here. And then add in a bit of like Doctor Strange's magics, and you get this real mixed world of fantasy, martial arts, and an interesting story. One of the things you're going to notice here that there's a cornucopia of really interesting different types of creatures, and I believe it's part of the culture to make the creatures as realistic as possible, but also have a line where the general public don't know that it's fantasy, don't know that it's not real, and so you're allowed to make them as real, but there's a line that you can only go so far. So you're gonna probably see a few creatures that go, yeah, that looks really cool, I like the design of that, but then you're gonna notice for the most part that they're obviously CGI, and it might take you a little bit out of the movie. I think the CGI and the VFX, the special effects, are very good in this, but you will be pulled out a bit from it. But once you start settling into what this film is, that you have this stone that is at the core center, the premise, it's like the MacGuffin thing that is all powerful. You have this demonic spirit that wants to come out and be control of the world, and you have the two worlds that are often clashing. You have the monster realm and you have the human realm, and they're all trying to protect each other from each other. When those worlds clash, as you do get in this film, it's a lot of fun to watch. Obviously there's relationships that are built, and there's this like age-old story of the one person that is betrayed and they think that he did the thing, and then the other woman feels betrayed because he did that thing. It's very typical and very play by the numbers. You've seen this type of story done a number of times, but when it gets right, or when it gets stuff right, it gets stuff right really well, and you're just kind of enthralled. I seriously was very impressed with the set pieces in this. From the wire work, which is excellent, and you see people flying about, and you have the sword play with the special effects mixed in with the magic. There's a lot of, you know, jujutsu. Looks like Naruto doing shadow clone jutsu, that sort of stuff for the magics, with the mix of the monsters, with the mix of the wire work. That is a lot of fun, but the set pieces are something to celebrate, I think. This is why I think this type of film, this epic, culture-wise, they do it perfectly, because grand scale is something that you get from this film. Big set pieces that just look lavish. There's smallest set pieces with blooming trees that look real, which I think they're probably not, but they just have that fantasy realm to that. It adds that vibrancy that you are wanting from a fantasy film like this. And then you get the very, very big lavish pieces. Obviously you're going to get that big action set piece at the end with monsters fighting each other and people flying all over the wazoo. There's one particular monster, a hand type creature, that doesn't look great when it's close up. It definitely is, you know, you're like, oh, that's CG. It's the sort of thing that takes you out of it. But for the most part, all the other creatures that are fighting are so cool. You're going to love the creature designs. I would say watch again in the original language. Again, you get more inflections, you get understanding of tone and what the director wanted from the actors. When you get a dubbing, it doesn't quite work that way, because obviously the dubbing voice actors didn't work with the director. So there's a difference in clarity, in I guess persona, in characterization when you're listening to the original language. I've seen a few in big scale like this, but they sometimes just don't get the balance right, where they're taking themselves too seriously. With this sort of fantasy film, there is a mixture of comedy to like kind of lighten the levity mood, but also not be afraid to take chances and make sure that all of your characters don't have massive plot protection. And I would say that you can tick all of the boxes here, because you kind of don't know who's going to survive. You don't know what your main character is going to have to do. It does remind me a little bit of Naruto in terms of like the jutsus and the monsters and the Jinchuriki, the Chinchurikis. It definitely plays with that. The magics reminds me of Doctor Strange, and then the epic reminds me of like classic martial art films with wire work. You know, pick your few. pick your poison, whichever one you like. Add that in there. So it's got a bit of everything that I think, for the most part, most people will like. There isn't any kind of nudity or swearing. It's actually quite a fun family adventure escapism film, perfect for a Friday viewing. I'm going to give it a solid A minus. Apart from the CGI, I probably would have just given it a solid A. But it was really fun, and I encourage everybody, if you want to encourage your family to maybe read some subtitles, get some reading done while you're watching a great adventure, this is one that I think you'll enjoy a lot of. I could stand to watch more of these. A lot of fun. Check it out. It's on Netflix now. Thanks so much for watching this. Let me know again, what is your favorite fantasy martial art film quite like this? I really like Detective D, that series. A lot of fun as well. Thanks so much. But most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.